You're looking at one of the most famous faces in all of human history, Queen Nefertiti. She's an icon, right? A symbol of beauty, royalty, and ancient power. We feel like we know her story, but what if the story we know is completely wrong?
See, there's this single, desperate letter hidden away in the historical record, and it suggests that everything we think we know is just scratching the surface. That her real story is about a foreign princess who gambled absolutely everything to forge a brand new empire.
So, to really understand this incredible gamble she made, we have to look past that famous name and figure out who she really was deep down. Her name, Nefertiti, sounds pure Egyptian. It literally means the beautiful one has come. But what if she wasn't Egyptian at all? The source material we're looking at makes a pretty bold claim that she was actually born Tadu Hapat, a princess from the rival Mitanni kingdom, and she was sent to Egypt as part of a political marriage. This foreign identity, well, it's the key to everything that's about to happen. And boy, did she have an influence on her husband. The pharaoh, Amenhotep IV, actually had a Mitanni grandmother himself, so he was already pretty open to these foreign ideas. Together, Tadu Hapat, who now goes by Nefertiti, and the pharaoh would kick off a revolution that was about to tear Egypt apart at the seams. And this wasn't just some small political shift. This partnership was about to become one of the most radical religious transformations the world had ever seen. Okay, so picture this. On one side, you've got thousands of years of Egyptian history, a whole universe of gods, led by the incredibly powerful god Amun. And on the other side, you've got Nefertiti and her husband's brand new idea, which was probably influenced by her Mitanni sun cult. One god, and one god only. Aton, the physical disk of the sun. This was a total rejection of the past. It was basically the first recorded attempt at monotheism in history. And look, they didn't just suggest this change, they went all in, and they did it fast. The pharaoh even changed his own name to Akhenaten, which means servant of Aten. He shut down the old temples, tried to literally erase the name of the old god Amun from monuments, and then he just up and abandoned the capital to build a brand new city dedicated only to his new god.
But you know, a revolution like this, it always comes at a staggering cost. While the pharaoh was busy staring up at the heavens, his empire down on earth was starting to totally crumble.
I mean, Akhenaten got so obsessed with his new religion that he completely ignored his actual job as pharaoh. Politics, the military, all of it just fell by the wayside. So of course, the rival Hittite empires saw their chance and started attacking Egypt's allies. Even desperate pleas for help from Nefertiti's own family back home were ignored. The entire empire was unraveling.
And then, right at the peak of all this chaos, Akhenaten dies. The sources point out that his death was sudden, it was unexpected, and it was deeply suspicious. And just like that, with him gone, Nefertiti and her very unpopular new religion were left completely exposed. Okay, this is the moment where the whole story takes a hard right turn. With everything about to be lost forever, Nefertiti makes a move that is so audacious, it's almost hard to believe. I mean, just try to put yourself in her shoes for a second. Her husband is dead, she has 6 daughters, but not a single son to inherit the throne. And she is completely surrounded by powerful men who hate her foreign god and want to erase every single trace of her husband's revolution. She was totally and completely cornered. So she writes this letter, and she doesn't send it to an ally, she sends it to the king of the Hittites, Egypt's #1 enemy. She asks him to send one of his sons to Egypt to be her new husband and the next pharaoh. And she includes this one crucial line: I will not take a servant of mine and make him my husband. Think about what that really means. She would rather marry a foreign prince from an enemy nation than let one of her own powerful Egyptian rivals take the throne. This was a political gamble like no other. It was a brilliant, desperate plan to create a whole new dynasty and save her revolution. But it was a gamble that was about to go tragically wrong. The whole tragedy came down to timing. The Hittite king was just so shocked, so convinced this had to be a trap, that he hesitated. He sent a messenger to confirm the offer was real, wasting precious time. By the time he finally sent his son, Prince Sananza, on his way to Egypt, it was just too late. Nefertiti's enemies had already made their move, and the prince was killed the second he crossed the border.
Her plan was discovered, and the backlash was immediate and brutal. Her rivals seized the throne, installing the young Tutankhamun, yep, that Tutankhamun, as the new pharaoh. And to make it all legitimate, they married him to one of Nefertiti's own daughters. Her massive gamble had failed. And after this, poof, Nefertiti just vanishes from history. So what happened to her? Well, the source material gives us two pretty grim possibilities. Was she executed as a traitor for writing to the enemy? Or was she just erased, exiled to some remote house to live out the rest of her days, completely forgotten? We just don't know. But that desperate letter, it does give us one final powerful clue. As the historian Ivar Lisner puts it, the very act of writing to the Hittite king was basically proof of her Mitanni roots. You see, in her moment of greatest desperation, she didn't turn to an Egyptian for help. She reached out to the people she considered her own. And all of this leaves us with one of history's greatest what-ifs. Just imagine, for a second, a world where that Hittite prince survived. A world where you married Nefertiti and united the two greatest superpowers of the ancient world. How would a massive Egyptian Hittite empire have totally altered the course of human history? It's definitely something to think about.